Hey, yo, what it is and what's good, y'all? Welcome back to 280 Plus, the social media podcast where I take the conversations off the timeline and go beyond the tweets, post, whatever you want to call it. I'm your host, Los Def, and I'm back here for episode 204. Episode 204, man. Welcome back to the show. If you're brand new to the channel and you like what you see, I need you to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button for me, please. If you want to join the conversation, leave a comment below, right? And that's for if you got critiques, if you got smoke for me, or if you want to, show the brother some love, man. Leave a comment below. Keep the conversation going. Any reactions that you have to the content, let's keep the conversation going. If you know anybody that's interested in this content or can relate to the content or just kind of gets a kick out of this type of podcast, then I need you to hit that share button and spread the wealth, right? It goes a long way. This is a podcast where if you into social commentary or into commentary about entertainment, things that's happening in social media, man, this is the podcast for you, right? So we got a great show for you today, man. I'm glad to be back. And hopefully we can get this episode sold out pretty quickly. But yes, I got a jam-packed episode for y'all. This week I'm going to recap my experience at the Breezy Bowl concert, right? So yeah, your boy ended up somehow winded up at the Breezy Bowl concert, and I'm gonna tell you all about my experience there. And I'm actually gonna, give you a little recap, give you a little review of what I thought of the show, all right? What else we got? Oh, we got despite all the controversy last week, we talked about Pedro Pascal and some of the things that he's facing in this little media storm that he's going through. But I went to go see the Fantastic Four, and we got a review of that movie, so we're gonna share that with y'all. We're gonna talk about what Ari Lennox is crying about this week, right? What is she crying about now? Like I kind of thought I thought she was kind of done, with these kind of rants and reactions. But this one is more so it's her opinion. It's her opinion, but we're gonna kind of chop it up a little bit and talk about how she feels about one of our most beloved comedy shows from the 90s. We're gonna get into that. What else do we got? Oh, and then we got oh my God. I gotta put this in bold so I don't miss it. But yeah, we have we're gonna talk about this Cam'Ron and Omar Gooding beef, right? Like wild beef. And we're gonna talk about a little bit of the fan reception of what's kind of going on, but also revisionist history, right? That's what this episode is gonna be talking about, some revisionist history a little bit with cover these topics. And we're just gonna break down the beef. We're gonna show you some videos that kind of break down the beef, and then we're gonna kind of give some reactions to what's going on. And then last but not least, we got something for the parents, and we're gonna talk a little bit about parenting here. Just some things to look out for, things to kind of be cognizant of. But also too, it's maybe it's even revisionist history in this way too, but like just this idea of like, when you put your kids in a better situation, how even if you got it out the mud, how can you kind of pay it forward to your kids so they don't kind of go through certain struggles that you went to, that they don't have to go through. I mean, because you have certain resources. So we're gonna get into that because it's a good video. And it's kind of a perspective that kind of gets overlooked. And it made me reflect on this perspective and thinking like, dang, where do I stand with this and how I can kind of mitigate some struggles for my son that he shouldn't have to go through. All right. So we're going to get into that. So, so I told y'all we're going to start off with the Breezy Bowl, and that's what we're going to do. So let's get started. So, all right, Breezy Bowl, man. So this is, probably outside of Beyonce. So let's not, because we're not going. There's actually been a lot of like hot concerts this whole summer, right? Kendrick Lamar was on tour. Obviously, his tour kind of was in the beginning of the summer. Beyonce was on tour in the middle of the summer, and I'm pretty sure her tour is done at this point. The Weeknd is on tour. My mom even went to that show with my sister. And then the Breezy Bowl, right? Breezy Bowl is one of the hottest concerts out right now. And I mean, fan reception of the whole concert has been large, has been very loud and vocal. People loving it. And so the Breezy Bowl, right? First off, Chris Brown don't have no new music out right now, right? So he came out with this concert. Everybody knew once these tickets was dropping, everybody was going crazy. These tickets dropped in the spring, right? And everybody was talking about it. Everybody was looking forward to it. There and a lot of good show venues. A cool venue that he actually went to, which is a smaller venue, but like still, it brought everybody out from where I'm from in Pennsylvania. But he actually had a show at Hershey Park. So, and I come from a small city, and like I'm telling you, like it felt like the whole city was there. The whole 717 was in the building, and it was a good based on the reception. It was a really good show. And it's weird too because I'm from a small city, so like there was even like controversy about like people just bickering like on social media about like people going to the concert, not going to the concert, people hating on people, and that's we're not gonna get into that, whatever. So I didn't think I was gonna get an opportunity to even go. So I went to the Philly show, right? So that show was, yeah, the Philly show was like on a Sunday, right? And my mom hit me up on a Saturday, the day before the concert, and she just was like, hey, this Chris Brown concert that I'm going to, because she took my sister there as well. And she was like, oh, do you want to go? And I was thinking like, all right, she going to the concert, whatever. And she was like, yeah, I upgraded my tickets to better seats. My mom needed like seats on like a lower level because my mom, she had like a knee replacement a couple years ago, so she needs something little more accessible, right? So going up a lot of flights of steps is not ideal for her. So she got better seats that are like a little more comfortable for her, a lot less walking for her. And then she said, "Yeah, I got these tickets. Do you want them, or I could put them up for resale?" And then I'm thinking like, "Oh." So I'm scrambling around trying to figure out, how I'm gonna go, right? Do I take my shorty? Do I ask a friend? Do I even have any friends that's gonna be willing to go? Like, do I got a homie that's gonna be willing to go? End up being where it was the best solution that I just take one of my homeboys, right? So yeah, I hit up my man's, you know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, bro, by any chance, would you want to go to a Chris Brown concert? And my man was hyped. He was like, hell yeah, let's go, let's do it, whatever. So we was hyped. So my tickets was free. My tickets was free to the Breezy Bowl. Um, and I ain't gonna lie, man, it was a lot of ladies there, you know what I mean? And granted, I not that I was partaking whatever, but like, you could look, but don't touch. You could look, but you can't order off the menu, right? That's what I've been told by a lot of old heads, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, so yeah, man, it's a good thing, man. It was a good show. When we got there though, and I'm talking about when it brought the ladies out, man. Like first I was being generous. We pull up, I mean, and then I'm like, yo, yeah, this easily like 4-to-1 ratio, like women to men. You know what I mean? And then as we was there, because I was being generous, I was like, no, there's no way it's that many women here. Nah, bro. Like it was like, cause then we kept seeing it was just waves of women. So, bro, the ratio was probably like 8-to-1, 8-to-1. Like so yeah, it was cool, man. It was a vibe, you know what I'm saying? Like to say the least, right? But first though, we're gonna critique and talk about the venue, right? So this show in Philly was at Citizens Bank Park, right? So that is where the Philadelphia Phillies play, right? So the same day, oh shit, somebody call, hold on. Damn. So yeah, so it's at the Phillies stadium, and the same day of the concert, right? And if you know anything about like Philly, right, and their sports teams, They have, and I think this is ideal. Which it's crazy that they actually suggested, like someone tried to suggest that they build a new arena or stadiums downtown in Philly, and I'm thinking, bro, I know Philly, I know downtown Philly, and I don't know where you would put it, right? But and I know that construction would be crazy. I mean, like these are all their arenas and stadiums are still in great shape. And they have them all in one area. It ain't like, oh, it's one part of the city, other part. They have them all there. Like, so it's one big parking complex that serves all these different venues, right? So the same day they were having an event at Lincoln Financial Field. It was like a public practice, and Phil, I ain't gonna hold you, man. Philly fans, and maybe because I live close enough to Philly that I can see the Philly fan base. Um, Bro, they show out. Philly fans show out to everything, and that might be how it is for other teams in other cities. Like maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers fans is crazy and they show up to everything. Maybe the Ravens, you know what I mean? Like, because that's where I'm in PA, so most people are either Steelers fans, Ravens fans, or the Eagles fans. You know what I'm saying? I got to be the oddball, and I like the Packers, right? You know what I mean, my dad is from Philly. He ain't never liked Philly, so blame my father because your first team is from your father. You know what I mean? But either way, they was having an event in the same day. And I'm thinking like I wonder if that's why the show wasn't at Lincoln Financial. Maybe, maybe they didn't think they could sell that many tickets. Based on the demand of this concert, I think it would have been fine to have it at Lincoln Financial, but like I think Chris Brown was having them in stadiums. This was a stadium tour, but like I think he was choosing like the smaller venues, like the smaller stadiums. He wasn't doing the football ones, he was doing the baseball ones. Baseball stadiums tend to be a little bit smaller than football stadiums. It is what it is, right? But that I think that's where lies the problem a little bit because this venue, it was mayhem, man. So we get there a good time. Like, the concert starts at like 7 and we get there, it's like a little bit after 6 because my man's was I ain't gonna people we was on CB time, man. Niggas be doing their own thing. We actually got there a little bit earlier. I can't lie, man. We got there 5 something, but like getting through the line, trying to get to parking, it was nuts, whatever. But anyway, it was mayhem trying to get into the venue, right? And this is something that was shared via social media by, thousands of people that went to this show. Like people was upset. They said, "Yo, I would never go to a show at Citizens Bank Park again." People was like, "Yo, the concert was everything, but Citizens Bank Park could go to hell." Like everybody was feeling some type of way. My mom was feeling some type of way. She said that they didn't open the doors because my mom got there early. Like she was in the parking lot early. I mean, um, and she said that it took them forever to decide when to open these doors, right? So it was a mess. It was a mess, right? So either way, man, we pregame, we good, man. Like we ain't spend really no money in there. So the tickets was already free. We already was in good shape, you know what I'm saying? So we ain't really need to we ain't need to consume no alcohol when we got in there, nothing like that. It was like we was on. So we decided we was gonna eat first, right? So we ate first, and then we missed Bryson Tiller. Like I could hear him when he was outside, like when we was outside of the venue in line. I could hear Bryson's sets going off. And I gotta tell you, man, like Bryson's set was quick. Like Bryson and Summer Walker opened up for him. But Bryson, I heard, and maybe it was more songs than this, but I heard like 5 songs that Bryson performed, and I feel like he was off the stage. So quick set, and I'm thinking like, why is Bryson on tour with Chris Brown when Bryson just dropped the album, which I still have to listen to, and so I'm thinking like not that he's not a big artist than Chris Brown by any means, but I feel like, he got an album out. He should be going on tour for himself. You know what I'm saying? I think Summer Walker, I don't know if she has an album out, but like she been dropping singles like this year. So like, why ain't they on a tour on their own, whatever. And that's besides the point. But I got in there late that I couldn't hear I didn't see none of Bryson. And I seen Summer Walker performing. I heard her performing Heart of a Woman, you know what I mean? Whatever. I got like a little flick of it, and it is what it is, right? So then after we eat some food, right? And I was like, bro, like, because our seats were actually like the seats that my mom gave me. Shout out to the seats. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's love to be there. But yo, when you in the venue, man, it's about kind of jockeying for position and figuring out how you can come up. So we decided, yo, we not going to the seats. We just gonna post up, right? So we decided we was going down section 113, which is a lower level section. I mean, my mom was in like 111, and we go in there and we just post up. We just post up and we're literally in the aisle, like in the aisle, like where people walk down. And we almost get down to ground level. We might have been like 5 rows up from the ground level. So and nobody stopped us. Nobody was checking tickets because the concert had already started. So it wasn't no security right there. So we basic so out of getting into a free concert, we end up getting a great vantage point of this concert. Now, granted, we had to stand up for most of it until we ended up finding some seats that we just kind of brodied. But you know what I mean, so it was like a win-win-win. It was ultimate. Like, I mean, it was like, man, free concert. Oh, not to mention my man's that my homeboy that I went with, his mom, yeah, I mean, she got one of them handicap joints, whatever. So they like, yeah, we rode in there and we had the tag on in our car. And yo, we got the best parking. Like, I ain't never parked this close to any sporting venue in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we got great parking, free tickets, and then we end up, taking advantage and getting a good view of the whole concert, right? So lit, right? Chris Brown is going, and it's a good concert, man. Like, so I want to say, I'm prefacing that this, I'm not saying this concert was weak. I'm not saying this was a bad concert at all. Like, I mean, he's performing the hits, he's doing his thing. It's great. You know what I'm saying? The fanfare, everybody was in their bag. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was the good energy. I do think the audio could have been a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? But I think though I came into this concert with some high expectations because I knew a lot of people that went to that Hershey show and they said, "Oh my God, this was the best Chris Brown concert I've ever been to." So I'm thinking like, whoa, that's a tall order. You know what I'm saying? Now this is my second time seeing Chris Brown. I went to see him during the Breezy Tour. Now, Breezy from 2022, that is my favorite. I'm not gonna say it's the best album, but that is my favorite Chris Brown album. You know what I mean? From track one to the end. Like, that album, I was totally locked into that album. Like, I knew, like even when I went to the concert, I felt like because it was so, like, that was a different kind of tour because he had dropped the album in June, right, late June, and then he started his tour right away. And I went to a concert in July, so like some of it was like maybe like people didn't know all these songs, whatever. But like I knew these songs, practically word for word, so I'm locked in. And he performed so many classics at that concert, like so many. And I swear 2022 we was doing this podcast, so I talked about that concert, bragged about that concert. That concert was amazing, right? And he just did an amazing job. Like, one, he's a hell of a performer, right? But then there was a lot of like fan participation. There was a time when he was loud, like when it came to like the older songs, he was allowing people, he was allowing the fan participation to pick what songs. And he did that for like three to five songs. He let us pick, you know what I'm saying, what we wanted to hear. And it was just amazing, whatever. And so like I come in with that in my mind. I'm thinking like, oh, this concert is gonna be like that, but maybe better because yeah, he's gonna be performing a lot of these old songs, whatever. So yeah, good concert, good energy, whatever. But I gotta say, this was not the best Chris Brown concert I've ever gone to, right? It's not the best Chris Brown concert I've ever gone to. So it was still really, really good, but it wasn't the best. And it wasn't, I ain't gonna lie, it wasn't what people said it was. You know what I'm saying? Like, people said it was the best ever, like, oh my God, whatever. And this is how, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tell y'all how, even though the Breezy Bowl concert was great, I'm gonna tell y'all reasons why this concert could have been better, or how this concert could have been better. So first and foremost, right? First and foremost, when I'm a advocate, this I'm gonna be an advocate for this. I realize this now, and I'm gonna probably stick on this opinion for a little bit until I'm proven otherwise. But like, I would much rather go to a concert that's dedicated to a specific album, right? An album concert, as opposed to going to like some type of like, oh, greatest hits type of concert, right? Because and so here's the problem, right? Chris Brown, so as you're hearing the song, he performed 50 songs, right? Or like he performed parts of 50 songs. So I'm gonna get specific here. So he performed 50 songs, but Chris Brown, he literally has an album. He has one album that has over 50 songs. He dropped two albums in a row that had like about 50 songs. So like Chris Brown's catalog, he probably like I'm telling like he has to have the largest catalog of any modern R&B artist. You know what I'm saying? Like probably of any R&B, he has to have the largest catalog. I mean, he has probably a dozen albums, and then like he had some of these like super albums that had 40 tracks on it, 50 tracks on it, high 20s. You know what I mean? So like he has a lot of music, right? So it is hard to kind of pick and choose what to perform, right? So like yes, this concert covered the gamut. Like he was, but I had to say there was no rhyme or reason for why he performed some of these songs, right? So like this is the thing. So this how it could have been better. I wish we could have got longer versions of these songs. So like the concert was going, but then like he was singing songs, and then like we would only get the first verse of these songs, and it makes sense, right? So like even if he's performing for like 2 hours, right? And you think like, oh, 50 songs. But yeah, if you only perform in the first half of these 50 songs, that's going to take you up to 2 hours, especially if you got, little intermissions and breaks for wardrobe changes and stuff like that. So like this could have been better. So instead of it, so because Breezy didn't have any new music, right? Right. And he's been out for 20 years. I think Chris Brown's best bet would have been to do this, right? Instead of making it about like his whole career, 20 years, why not make this an album dedication concert? Why wouldn't this should be a 20-year anniversary of the Chris Brown self-titled debut album? Like his first album is called Chris Brown. This should have been a 20-year anniversary of the Chris Brown album, right? Because we would have got like longer versions of these songs. We'd have got maybe full tracks, right? But then he would have opened the door for all these oldies because yeah, after he runs through this album, he would still have mad time, but like he would be able to break the album up into pieces, right? And then he would be able to perform all the other bangers that people wanted, like his top bangers. He didn't play his absolute I don't think he played his absolute best songs, but this should have been a concert dedicating it to his album because I've gone to like anniversary concerts, right? I went to a couple years ago, I went to it was in 2023 actually, I believe. The 2023, 2022. No, it might have been 2022. It was after I seen yeah, it was the same year. I seen Chris Brown, I seen Blast, and I seen Lupe, I think in the same year. And this was a concert where it was the 15-year anniversary of the Cool. And then Lupe like did a great job. It was a smaller venue, of course, but like Lupe did a great job of like coming out on the stage and like talking to us about the creation of this album. And it was like a celebration of this album. And of course, he played songs from other albums. Like that's so I don't want people to have like a narrow mind to think like, why would we just celebrate one album? Well, it's the 20-year anniversary of his debut, so celebrate that, and then open up the floor for all these other bangers. And then what he could have did was he could have did what like he does in a lot of shows, which is he gives the fans some choice, right? So it would have been fan participation, right? Everybody would have went crazy. Like everybody would have went crazy and voting and having him vote for these songs. Now, I also think like just in general, I think concerts in an arena is a little bit better than stadium concerts because I think your acoustics are just gonna be better when you're like enclosed as opposed to being way out and open. So like this concert could have been better if it was actually a tribute to his debut album, if he would have more and if he would have more fan participation, and if it would have been more focused, right? He could have played longer versions of each of these songs, right? So yes, it was still good. And maybe I should have looked at the set list because I was like, because I did look at the set list afterwards, and I was thinking like, it didn't really make any sense why he performed certain songs when he performed them. Like they would, to me, it was no rhyme or reason. So like that is the downside of having a big catalog is trying to, if you're trying to encompass, you're trying to make a concert that encompasses your whole career, you might need to perform for 4 hours, bro. Like you might not need to have no opening act, and it's just you from 8 o'clock, maybe 3 hours, like from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock. Like you need to just be performing, and yeah, you could take a little break here and there, but that's the downside of having too many songs, and that has been always the critique with Chris Brown, where it's like some of his songs sound the same, but also, and even if you disagree with that, it's like there's several albums that Chris Brown has put out where it's like, bro, you kind of just you giving us everything that you've made in a certain amount of time as opposed to giving us your best. So like I think he could have focused it, pay homage to where he started, but then let the fans decide, for at least for parts of the concert, let the fans decide the kind of songs that they wanted to hear, especially like when they're like from the same album, or like they give like a similar vibe, like yeah, we should, the fans should be a part of that decision. So great concert. I'm not complaining because, like I said, it was free. It was free, and the only thing I really paid for at this concert was parking. I paid $40 for parking, but after that, yeah, I mean, I ain't paid for nothing else. You know what I mean? And I got a great vantage point. To let you know though, my our seats was in like section 435, so it was like upper deck. Yeah. So I don't know if we would have enjoyed ourselves the same way. I don't know if it would have been as good of an experience. I do wonder what it would look like up there, but at the same time, we end up making the most of it. But like, yeah, dope concert. But like, is it the best Chris Brown concert I've ever seen? No. Was it a bad concert? No. Could it have been better? To me, yes. Is he still amazing? Yes. And I do think that Bryson and Summer probably maybe they need to go on tour together and kind of do their own thing, whatever. But either way, good time, and I'm grateful. And yeah, that's my reaction. That was my experience, man, at the Breezy Bowl, man. Shout out to Breezy though. But let's move on. Let's move on to the next topic. Let's see what we got. What we got. Yeah, so I yeah covered that. All right, let's get into a review, man. So last week we talked about Pedro Pascal and his media storm controversy, man, because apparently he has this like crippling anxiety that has him kind of release his anxiety in a peculiar way. He tends to grab onto people, touch people, things like that. And I'm not saying he touches people inappropriately or anything like that, but like that is how like social media had tried to like paint it. They tried to paint it as if like he's being a little weird and it's inappropriate. It definitely is like, and when you make jokes about it, it does make it even weirder because it's like oh snap, like is it like should he be doing this? Whatever. That's neither here nor there, right? So, but I still said, yo, I wanted to watch Fantastic Four because my man's was in it. And then I knew I was gonna get kind of like an origin story because that's the one thing we've never really got an origin story of the Fantastic Four. We've gotten a couple different movies. This is like the third or fourth movie I think this is the fourth movie that they made of the Fantastic Four, fifth if you count one that was unreleased. So there was one from 1994 I found that never was released, but it was like it was probably a good reason why it was never released, right? But they've come out with some different they had two different ones, like '05 and then like '07, and then they came out with one in like 2015, and that's when they tried to reboot it. But like it just didn't have I don't know, I guess it didn't have no traction. because 2015 is in the middle of the whole MCU run. So like I guess it just wasn't popular enough that they didn't even decide to even include it as a part of the traditional MCU that led to the Avengers. So then we get this reboot, this remake. So this is Fantastic Four First Steps, right? So I gotta say, man, I love this movie, man. I love this movie. This was a great superhero movie. The plot was very straightforward. Like I would say that, like this wasn't one of those 3 hour Marvel movies that we get, that's kind of hard to stay awake in. This movie was sweet spot. It was just less than 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? So like it got to that point, like because yeah, like that's what happens for me at a lot of these like Marvel movies is like the ones that are 2.5 hours, 3 hours long. It's like I don't have enough stamina, you know what I mean, for it. And I usually fall asleep for like a good portion of these films, maybe 20, 30 minutes. And then like I'll see like, like the maybe the climax up until like the resolution and stuff like that. So like, but this was perfect, man. Like because it was straightforward, the plot was clear, you can tell, you can see where it was going. There was no downtime. Like a lot of times, like these Marvel movies be having like this weird downtime, but no, they were doing their thing. The casting I thought of this was amazing. This is definitely my favorite Fantastic Four film. Probably the best. This is one of my favorite casted Fantastic Four films. Thing, right, was played by Evan Moss Backrack, the same guy that plays what's his name on the Bear. What's his name? What's his name? Not Jim. No, he's not Jimmy. He's not Jimmy. Um, Richie. So the guy that plays Richie on The Bear, right? The loudmouth dude cussing, yeah, I mean, whatever, hyper. Yeah, so Evan Moss, we're gonna call it Backrock. Evan Moss Bachrock, right? Anyway, he played the thing. I thought he was amazing, man. Like I thought like just like his voice, like giving his voice to this character, his charisma, like just the way he like how quick he was. Like Thing was probably my favorite character. I mean, there was even a period where Thing grew a beard, like, and like it just was cool, man. Like they really humanized Thing, and then you almost kind of felt bad for him because we saw the origin of him, and like you could see him. You could see him watch his old self, you know what I mean? Like in interviews and stuff like that. So we'll get into that a little bit. But like yeah, his personality and voice was great for the thing. Mr. Fantastic came off great. He came off really intelligent. And that's Pedro Pascal. I thought he did his thing, man. I thought he was a good Mr. Fantastic, like really on point. You could just tell, like he's who he was a leader. Like he presented that. It was good. Sue Storm, um, she had that good chemistry with Mr. Fantastic. It was great. And then Johnny Storm was that firecracker, like literally, but like that personality that Johnny Storm was supposed to kind of give us. That's what he was. So I thought he did a good job as well. What I liked about this was the origin of it because we've never actually seen how the Fantastic Four turns into the Fantastic Four. And I gotta say, that is probably the best thing about the MCU is the fact that they take time to give us some origin stories, and a lot of times it's better than what you would expect, whatever. So we never seen how they became the Fantastic Four in any of these films, and it was interesting because of where and how and when this movie took place. So it looks like when you look at the setting, it definitely looks retro. So it looks like the 1960s. However, you gotta keep in mind that in the beginning of the movie, it showed that this took place on Earth 828, which is like a multiverse version of Earth, right? We're in a different dimension, you know what I'm saying? So this is Earth, but it's in Earth 828. And then if you notice, even though it was retro and looked like the 1960s, and they made references to different things in the 1960s, it still had that like Jetson look, whatever. There was still a lot of modern technology in this film, even though it had that retro feel. Even the costumes was dope. They looked retro and stuff like that, but it was dope. Um, we see how they actually became the Fantastic Four. So it shows that they went on like a space mission, right? Like and these guys were picked to go on the space mission, and then things didn't go well for them, and they come back with like these radioactive powers. Like they all come back with some type of like mutation to them. But it also showed how like everyone, how they're perceived by everyone in the city or in their world, and like how loved they are. They had like a lot of fanfare. So this movie takes place 4 years after they got their power. So like so it's a lot of symbolism with the number four and stuff like that. So like they paint a really, really good picture. They paint a really good picture. So I just thought that was dope. I thought Galactus was the main villain. I thought that he was a solid villain, especially with his female Silver Surfer character. I thought she was good as well. Um, you know what I mean? This movie had a great end credit scene with Doctor Doom, right? And it was wild seeing Doctor Doom with this baby. And then I'm learning, right? Because just even prior to this film, you see on social media, like, I seen this ranking of like most powerful characters that Marvel has ever created. And obviously there's a lot of villains in there, but when it comes to like superheroes, Mr. Fantastic is rated as one of the most powerful he's rated as one of the most powerful Marvel characters ever created. Doctor Strange is in that world too, but what was surprising was that Franklin Richards, which is the baby, he is also considered one of the most powerful characters ever created by Marvel. And that was evident because Galactus basically said, like, all right, I'll leave your country alone. Like because Galactus, he devours planets. And innately, he's not inherently bad, but like, bro, if your planet gets eaten, you know what I'm saying, and you die, like, yeah, you're gonna look at him as the villain. So he's not inherently bad, but what makes him bad was the fact that, like, all right, they're pleading, they're trying to make a compromise, they're trying to make a truce. And this character was like, you know what, yeah, I got you. I'll leave your planet alone. I won't eat your planet. I won't destroy it, but you gotta give me your baby. And they was like, what the fuck? Like, nah. And it was crazy how when they came back to Earth, and they basically they didn't have to tell the people on Earth what was going on. They come back to Earth, right, after going to see Galactus, and they tell him like, yo, he basically said like, yo, we could save the world if we give him our baby. And everybody was like, so what you do? And they was like, what you mean? And they was like, you gave up that baby, right? And they was like, no, fuck out of here. We not giving up our baby. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? And then like people started hating on them. You know what I mean? And then the whole film is trying to figure out like how they can fight this guy without sacrificing their child. You know what I mean? Who is one of the most powerful characters that Marvel ever created, right? So I I mean, if I had to rate this movie, I don't want to be too gas, like I don't want to gas it up too much because I gave Happy Gilmore a 10 out of 10. And that was probably partly out of nostalgia and like just the way it felt. I had to maybe I would say a 9. I really didn't see nothing wrong with this film. The only thing that might have been, I wish maybe Galactus could have been maybe could have had more of a role. Maybe we could have seen the Silver Surfer character a little bit more. But like maybe, again, I don't want it to be too long, but maybe the movie could have been a little bit longer. Maybe it was too straightforward. But I thought they did this well. And I'm hearing though, and I don't know if this for sure. I'm hearing though that it's not getting the numbers in the box office that maybe it was expected to get. I think though, I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about the film. Like I think fans and critics have a high review of this film. But I just think that like I do think, and I've heard this sentiment a lot, is that people just have Marvel fatigue, man, MCU fatigue, like because yeah, man, like it's a great thing, but like and I said this before, it's like we live in an era where we kind of just run things into the ground, and we might be overdoing things. Like, yes, it's cool to create a world where all these characters are connected, but like when you put that on the fans though, and that now we're required to watch all these things, and it's like, is it, could you run it, you could run its course, you know what I'm saying, and you can make it not be as appealing of a thing to do to watch these movies, but like I ain't gonna lie, this film kind of rejuvenated me, and like I know, because I know Robert Downey Jr. is gonna be Doctor Doom, and I know that's gonna be probably lit. So it kind of got me, it kind of got me bought into like, all right, I want to see what this next phase is looking like, but I can see why people is like trying to like figure it out, because yeah, they got all the TV shows, you know, and they're semi connected to what's going on. And they have a lot of characters that have come out, and movies that come out of characters that we're just not familiar with for real. So it's cool, but it's like it's still a lot for people. But I'll rate it a 9 out of 10. If I had to rate this film, I'd say it's a 9 out of 10, probably because of the fatigue, and maybe maybe the story was a little bit too quick. Maybe they could have got a little bit deeper, but I thought it was a solid effort, and it kept me awake the whole time. Like I ain't gonna lie, I fell asleep during Infinity Wars. I fell asleep during Endgame. Like, now I watched the end, like I know what happens, but like I missed parts of both of those movies, and I refuse to watch those movies again because they're so long. I would watch this again though. I probably would watch it again. So shout out to Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Evan Moss, and then who's the other boy? What's his name? The other boy's name was damn, I didn't even get his name down. Did I not get his name down? Yeah, that's crazy. Either way, man, good film, and I recommend you go check it out, man. If you and I'm sorry, spoilers, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. I don't tell you what happens at the end, but like I gave you the plot. You know what I mean, they yeah, it's wild, but I love the retro feel of it. It was dope. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Move on to the next topic. All right. So, all right, let's check this out, man. So I'm gonna show y'all a video after we get through this a little bit, but y'all know Ari Lennox, right? R&B singer Ari Lennox. And so Ari Lennox, a lot of times, man, when she makes her way onto my show, like if I'm talking about Ari Lennox, it's because of how she carries herself kind of on social media. So Ari Lennox has gotten a lot of flack over the years because of um one, I think I mean, she's a good artist. I don't know if she's a great artist. She's a good artist. She's solid. But then I think what we talk about this a lot, but artist development is a big thing. And now artists, they probably have a lot of autonomy, or they have, because they have phones in their hands, they can always just kind of talk to fans. You know what I mean? And that's a gift and a curse. You know what I mean? Back in the day, there was no social media, so like maybe our celebrities would have been wilding back in the day as well. But I feel like that's why media training is a little bit more important, because there are celebrities where we don't really see them on social media. We don't hear about them. But then there's artists that we see them all the time, and they know how to leverage their social media presence. But then there's artists and celebrities that are are visible, but then they don't know how to leverage their social media presence, and a lot of time it backfires. So Ari Lennox is one of those artists and celebrities that it backfires when she talks on the internet. Like it never goes well for her. So and a lot of times she's complaining about something, and she has a voice in which she sounds like she's crying and whining, and so that's, I think there's an aesthetic thing there too. But um so she goes on and she's talking about Martin, right? So and I seen some of the tweets, and I seen people talking about it. And basically she was just saying how, like, yo, looking back, watching Martin, like, basically she's wondering, like, how was Martin able to get these jokes off about Pam, right? So and that tends to be a conversation a lot of times. Um, but what I gotta say is that people in like that are a little bit younger, you know what I'm saying? Because it's different to watch Martin back in the day and you have that nostalgic like tie to it, but then also then to rewatch it as an adult, like you understand, you just understand. Like there's not only do you have that nostalgic tie, but you have a context to it, right? Like you understand what it is, you understand what that comedy was, right? Nowadays what we have is, and this is why comedy is kind of dying for real, for real. There's other reasons why comedy movies dying, but like this is social media is in some ways it's good for stand-up comedy a lot of times, but just in general it's a bad place for comedy because people look at jokes and they take jokes out of context from when they were told, right? And people would try to always just be like, "Oh, yo, nah, that it was wrong then, it was wrong now." No, no, no. So basically, she's making this claim that Martin made a lot of harmful jokes to Pam, and it's because she's dark skinned, right? And like he shouldn't have been talking to her like that, and that his jokes were wild and inappropriate. Like that's the premise of how she's coming. She's coming with Martin telling inappropriate jokes about a dark skinned woman, and that how we shouldn't have been laughing back in the day, and how it's not acceptable. And granted, and yes, she's right that probably some of the stuff that he was saying back in the day probably wouldn't be acceptable today. However, it was a different time, right? It was a different time, so that's one point. Its context is totally different. But also, another thing is that Pam was not a victim of Martin's jokes. Pam was not a victim of Martin's jokes, right? Pam used to fire right back at Martin. You know what I mean? These two would literally have roasting like it's almost like a mini roasting battle between the two. And more often than not, Pam would win. Pam would win the roast. You know what I mean? Like Pam was frying Martin up a lot of times. Like, yes, he used to get at her. You know what I mean? But like it was never about her being dark skinned. Martin and people, and this is a sentiment a lot of people, and I remember this too. Martin never made jokes about her skin color. He never made dark skin jokes about her. You know what I'm saying? Never, never. He never compared, and like because people compare because like Gina, Tisha Campbell was light skinned and Tichina Arnold, right? She brown skin, whatever. And so like they were already they were a lot of times they were probably pitted up against each other to the fans. Like fans felt some type of way. But like now you're putting this colorism like lens onto the jokes when he never made comments about her appearance or her color. You know what I mean? He would make jokes about her appearance and what she was wearing, but like, yeah, he was dogging her out, but like it wasn't about her color. It was just like he didn't like his girl's homegirl, you know what I mean? And she didn't like him back. And again, she was not a victim. You know what I mean? Sometimes she would start. You know what I mean? She would start with Martin. You know what I mean? So like revisionist history, man. Like I said it in the beginning of the episode, but like we gotta stop looking at certain things. Like comedy does stand the test of time. I think it does. However, right, it's almost like you almost have to give younger people like a little bit of a lesson. Cause yes, I have watched older things that are a little bit wild and like think and I do think like, oh man, this doesn't fly today. This is like, and I can recognize that, and that's all Ari Lennox should have said. She should have said that, like, yeah, a lot of the jokes that he made just wouldn't fly today. But like she made it, she started digging into the jokes and making it as if Martin is a colorist and he was being colorist when like that's not the dynamic of what was going on, right? So I want to show you, all right, because as a result of this, and I left a comment when I watched this video, and I said Ari Lennox needs to see this, right? So there's a video out there, but there's a video out there that's an interview with Tichina Arnold and basically with a younger person, and this younger woman, she's also trying to make kind of like colorist claims about what was kind of going on in the show, whatever. And so and this kind of resurfaced. I don't even think this is necessarily recent, but this is Tichina Arnold kind of giving her take on kind of what the show was about and kind of how it went down. All right, so let's take a look here. Video here. All right, so it says Tichina Arnold on the relationship between Martin and Pam, and watch this woman try to like, I guess make claims against Martin, so to speak.
I know that there's been a suggestion that there's a sort of light skin versus dark skin sort of dynamic between the way Martin treats Gina and the way he treats Pam.
So she projected there. Like, no, we never watched this show and thought that. We never did. So let's keep going.
Don't be the hat. Yo, Pam, you should be the dog as usual.
Have you ever considered that, or do you look at that and just in the way that like the things he calls you sometimes in character?
You know why I never considered that? Because originally Raw was all fat jokes. Like I told you, it was written, which is not better.
Yeah.
But we as a culture go through that, and I never was insulted by it because, first of all, it's my job to be able to bring life to this role, and how do I keep a certain, because there were things that were written towards Pam, and Martin would say, absolutely not, I'm not saying that. So there are fights that happen off camera that a lot of people don't know about. I would say no to your question only because what Martin and I had was really organic. So wherever that comes from is because of us personally and not because of what we really saw in each other. It wasn't derived from light. It just so happens that Tisha is very light.
Yeah.
And what happens is people, Tisha would go through, like girls would come and watch the show in the studio audience, and every time Tisha would talk, they would suck their teeth. They didn't want, because, so people, they didn't want her to have the man. They wanted, me to have the man. It's like, you still get it on both ends. Light-skinned women still get, the same treatment, so different. We're treated differently, but you still have to go through hurdles.
You're still black. So
either you're too black, not black enough.
Yeah.
It's always something. It's always something. So what do you do as an individual to not change it, but bring a different version or bring new life to it? Let's change the narrative here. Let's stop talking about things that we're taught. Let's talk about the things that we know, and let's address the issues in a way where it's a happy balance. Because we're always going to go through racism. Racism is not going anywhere, even within our own culture. But we have to teach each other, okay, why is it that I feel this way? Why am I treating you the way that I'm treating you? Why is it? So I think when you ask yourself questions, it allows you to get through life a lot easier because, you question yourself first before you question somebody else. What's your intentions? Why do you feel this way? Where did it come from?
I love that because yes, like when she's talking about intentions, Martin was one, he was being funny, he's being a comedian, he's doing a job, so to speak, right? Tichina Arnold was also doing a job, but like he's never intending to like, he's not talking about Tichina Arnold, right? He's talking about this character Pam, and like Pam even gives context of where Pam was originally written for a fat girl, you know what I'm saying? So like some of these jokes are probably like pre-made a little bit, right? And yeah, and again, she's not justifying it, whatever, but like it's not this light skin versus dark skin. Now, yes, that obviously was prevalent. You know what I mean? Like there's an undertone of that, I think, always in the black culture, right? In black society. But like we've learned things in the 21st century, right? Because they are things, but like we try to apply them to our society when they don't necessarily apply, because colorism as an actual institution, yes, it was racism in our country. It wasn't colorism when we talk about from white people and things like that. It was just racism. So we talking about like the house Negro versus the field Negro. Like that's not colorism. That's just racism. You know what I'm saying? That was them trying to create something to pit us against each other. But like it's not the same as like in South American countries or Caribbean countries, where like there's practices of bleaching skin. Like that's never been a part of Black American culture. Like bleaching our skin, we like that's never been a popular thing. It's never been something that we've been trying to do, lightening our tone and stuff like that. So like colorism, because what happens is in America, Black people, whether they was dark or light, because white people made that distinction, it was the one drop rule. So like even if you was barely black, you know what I'm saying, you was still getting lumped in. So like so we had a collective struggle together, and we were not necessarily, there might have been, there's always gonna be jealousy, but like there wasn't colorism in our culture like there are in other cultures over history. So like when we look at comedy and we try to apply that lens to it, it doesn't, like yes, it might, you might think it applies and it adds up, but like when the actors themselves are telling you that's not what the case is, you have to believe them. You can't, she didn't look like she was copping please. She didn't look like she was like fumbling and trying to stumble and trying to justify anything. Like she was calm and direct and clear, and you could see that's what it is. So like so yeah, Ari Lennox got fried up, man. Ari Lennox got fried up for making those comments, and then Ari Lennox tried to double back and say, "Oh, y'all just weak and y'all scared of the internet and y'all don't think for yourselves." No, and she's missing the point. No, you're not thinking for yourself, right? You're coming at this from some type of neoliberal lens where like yo colorism was a thing, because I tell people all the time like because we look at it like, and yes, when, because yeah, let's even go back, right? So when, even when we talk about like the depiction of like lighter women being more coveted than darker women, whatever, right? Like, and even if we talk about like rappers and things like that, a lot of times it don't be the artists, it don't be the rappers, it don't even be the actors themselves that are making these preferences. It be the directors, it be the producers, it be the owners of these networks that make these suggestions, and they're not black. These are not black people. So like yeah, trying to look at it from a 21st century lens, man, it's gonna steal a lot of joy, you know what I mean, from it. And then I even seen something which I don't know what she was talking about, but she was even saying like, yeah, Bernie Mac's jokes was kind of wild too. Like I understand why he a legend, but like I don't know them. And I'm thinking like, man, get like, please, man, this is, your career already is shaky, right? So like why are you talking in a way that's like, why are you trying to like talk down on one our legends, right? You know what I mean? But like you're supposed to be endearing to the fans. Like a lot of times, man, the fans do not care about, no, most people don't care about your opinion. But the fans don't care about your opinion because you're not known for giving opinions. You're known for singing songs. So like I'm not saying, I'm not gonna say shut up and sing, but like read the fucking room. Read the room. Like ain't nobody here for that. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you're not about to rewrite history and tell us, you know, what was bad and what wasn't bad when the actors themselves have said in multiple occasions that it was never like that. You know what I mean? Tisha Campbell and Tichina Arnold never had no beef with each other about light and dark. You know what I'm saying? And I like how Pam just kind of depicted it where it's like, well, yeah, like even like, and she wasn't trying to say like light skinned women suffer from oppression or nothing like that, but she was just thinking like, yo, you got in real life, Tisha was getting the flag. And I tell people all the time, bro, when people talk about colors, and I'll be like, yo, 90s, 80s media, dark skinned people was it. Like light skinned people got was the butt of the jokes. I always tell people that. And like people be, especially for men, light skinned dudes was the butt of the joke. We ain't never get no love. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the thing, even the idea of being colorist is like, bro, I wanted to be dark like my dad. Like yeah, I mean, so like, I don't know. It's just crazy, man. But like, she need to relax, man. Go sit down, go make another album or something like that. But what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? Is Ari Lennox, is she onto something? Or is she tripping? You know what I'm saying? Is she supposed to be watching? Should we be more conscious and watch the Martin show in a more critical eye? Or should we just, take it for what it is, and that's comedy? You know what I mean? Let me know in the comment section below. All right. Let's move on, man. What we got? We got a little bit more to go, and then we're gonna wrap this up. Oh, yes. We got two more topics, and we're gonna go. All right. So have y'all seen so man, 2025, man, this is the most random beef we've ever seen, whatever. And it's have y'all been keeping up with what's going on between Cam'Ron and Omar Gooding? Omar Gooding. So Cam'Ron misspoke, right? And said Omar Gooding's name incorrectly, right? He added a junior at the end by accident, right? I think it was an honest mistake. And then so Omar Gooding decides to make a couple diss tracks. Cam'Ron said, "Bro, I'm not dissing you, yeah, I don't want no smoke, yeah, laugh it off." And then but Omar kept going with stuff. He kept trying to drop diss tracks, whatever. And then Cam said, "You know what? I got you, right?" And so basically, revenge is a dish best served cold. And what Cam'Ron did to Omar Gooding, man, was so cold. And what we're about to see is what Cam'Ron did, like how this all played out, right? What was his plot to get back at Omar Gooding? And then we're gonna see Omar Gooding kind of cop to what happened and try to cop some pleas. But like, let's take a look here. Let's take a look, and you be the judge. You tell me what this really is. All right. So let's get this set up for y'all. Share the screen. Here we go. I'm gonna click right on here. All right. Oh no, not this one. Not this one. Is this the early one? No, we're gonna go to all right, here we go. Here we go.
So a lot of people was like, yo, Cam, what's going on with you and Omar Gooding Jr.? Here's what happened.
Omar Gooding Jr.
They no disrespect to nobody. I'm talking about when like Vin Ranger sitting around or Omar Gooding Jr. Y'all niggas sitting around like.
So that's what happened. I called him Omar Gooding Jr. And he's like, that you calling me out my name. Cuba's the junior. How am I gonna be the junior? And he made 3 diss records. They wasn't that bad. They was actually pretty good, to be honest with you. But I was like, damn, this nigga's bugging. So when I did my freestyle, I said, please don't mention me with no Omar Gooding. He did another record. Cool. So this while we working on It Is What It Is, Buffer like, Cam, we ain't got time for that, man. We gotta finish. I said, Buffer's right. But I'm on vacation. So I threw up a post the other day like, yo, you a Nickelodeon kid. Stop playing with grown folks. So what do? He do another diss record. So you know me, I got a new way to play with niggas. Pause. Super pause.
Super
I'm
pause.
gonna start booking niggas. Cause y'all broke. A lot of niggas is broke. I booked that nigga for $7,500 to do a movie for 3 weeks. He said I didn't. So you know what I did? I booked a nigga to do a movie that's never coming out. Like 3 weeks ago. Yeah, Omar. That movie you flew to Miami for, it ain't no movie coming out. I booked you. And I was laughing at you behind the scenes. I was there. I was sitting there laughing at you. And you know what? Now you're coming on Revolt tonight. Because you signed the paperwork saying I could do whatever with the footage. You thought them niggas was real movie producers? They are real movie producers. But them was my niggas. You was in a room full of niggas that was my niggas. Check it out, y'all. Look at this.
Whole staff. This is the whole staff from when I was shooting. Oh, look, he signed the paperwork. Hold on, let me get in here. He's signing the paperwork. This is meaning I can do whatever I want with this footage I want to do. Sign that paperwork right. This is it. You're reading for nothing, stupid. Put your fucking titties back in, nigga. What the fuck you doing with your titties out? Nigga, fuck is wrong with you, man? You're comfortable too. Nigga, mad comfortable. Put your titties away, nigga. I don't know what's wrong with nigga. Oh, look, he brushing his hair. Look, hold on, let me get back. Oh, hold on, let me get back in. Get them waves right, nigga. Get the curls. Look at this nigga doing push-ups. Look at, I got this nigga doing push-ups. Get your ass on the floor and do push-ups, nigga. Nigga really think he in a movie. Do your push-ups, nigga. Yeah, I got you doing push-ups, stupid ass. Look at him. And that's just behind the scenes. So tonight at 10 p.m. on Revolt, is going to be streaming tomorrow. Look at Omar Gooding playing in a movie that's never coming out. Mind you, they all speaking Spanish the whole time. He don't even speak Spanish. They talking about the nigga in Spanish while the movie's going on. So the dialogue is all Spanish, and he don't know Spanish. They was talking about you, stupid. Now, keep doing another record. I'm going to book you for my goddaughter baby shower. Her shit is in October. And we'll book you to do all the dish records. I'll pay you for that too, because what I'm gonna start doing is paying niggas just to laugh at them. It cost me $3,500 to do everything, to book you, your hotel, your flight, all that shit. It cost me $12,000, $13,000 to go to the NBA game. I'd just rather laugh at you for $3,500. Be careful. This is my new shit. It's called Book My Ops.
Book My Ops. I love it. Book My Ops, man. Cam'Ron is on, that's some 50 Cent level trolling right there. You know what I'm saying? And I feel Cam. I'm like, yo, bro, I don't think he ain't saying nothing crazy about the bull, whatever. He did say his name wrong. He added the junior to it now. Omar Gooding probably does get annoying to him a little bit, whatever, because people, his brother had a better career, even though he's a disgraced actor at this point. I mean, like Cuba got canceled, and he was, he got accused of some wild stuff. You know what I mean? And we aren't gonna get into all that. So I'm sure that like he probably don't even want his brother's kind of name attached to him, but he is. But Omar Gooding has not really done anything of note in the last several years. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, and then so Omar Gooding is trying to get clout, and he's making diss tracks on Cam'Ron because to make himself relevant, whether it's to make himself a couple dollars or just to make himself relevant because come on, man, is Cam'Ron gonna diss this dude in a track? Like, no, like why should he? Why would he? I mean, and yes, Cam'Ron do the freestyles in the beginning of the show sometimes, and then he said, "Don't mention me with no Omar Gooding," and then Omar fires back, and then this is the revenge, man. Like I said, revenge is a dish best served cold, and this was the coldest thing that Cam'Ron could have did. Like I can't even put it into words. Like, this is crazy. So now let's look at Omar Gooding's response, right, to Cam'Ron, because to me, this is him trying to cope with what happened. Yeah, I mean, this is him trying to save face and him trying to make it look like, oh yeah, all right, you dumb, whatever. Like, I'm not that affected, but like, let's take a look here. And you can always tell when somebody's feelings is hurt, especially in a situation like this. Like, you can always tell. So let's take a look at Omar Gooding's response here. All right, this is funny. All right, so here. So it says Omar Gooding reacts after Cam'Ron tricks him into Omar Gooding reacts after Cam'Ron tricks him into flying to Miami for a fake movie role. So here, let's take a look here.
Top of the morning. Hey, I have to this is serious here because I gotta address this right away because people call me. I have to send an apology. Hold on, give me a minute.
I love that comment.
For what I'm about to do to this nigga on this music. It's gonna be diabolical. First of all, thank you, brother. Thank you. You are next level. A free trip to Miami, $2,500 in my pocket to do some push-ups with my shirt off. Thank you. And knowing that garbage ain't coming out is even better. Show it on your little show all you want if you need ratings that bad. I'm almost 50, nigga. You think I give a fuck about man boobs and a titty? I ain't never said I was in shape. Who gives a shit about that, nigga? I'm a grown-ass man, nigga. It was funny, though. I've been laughing. Top of the morning.
There we go.
Top of the morning. Hey, I have to... I've been with the shirt down with the. I've been laughing all morning. My niggas is mad. Nigga, calm down, nigga. It's clear you're not a rapper no more. You've decided to give up rap and just try to crack jokes. No, I'm not coming on your show. I'm not helping your ratings no more. But thank you. No bullshit. Thank you. This is about selling. It's about selling records and you getting ratings. If you don't think they tuning in for what I'm about to do, nigga, thank you, my nigga. And thank you. Book me for some more shit. I've never been to Ibiza. Book me for that, nigga. 2,500. That's not just one scene, in and out. Send me wherever you want, my boy. Keep booking. I'm gonna keep spinning it. And I got some push-ups here, nigga. Needed them. God bless you. I love you all.
Man.
So now.
Man, the level, you see that's him crying, bro. Like I like him fake like he was crying, bro. Like I think that shit hurt his feelings, man. And the level of like coping that he's trying to do about this, he even said that his friends was mad. Like his friends was mad. And he like, yo, calm down, nigga. Like whatever. Like so obviously people know that he got ridiculed, right? People are probably like, bro, like, why you? I mean, you just got embarrassed, whatever. And he's trying to save face. And I seen people in the comment section talk about some like Cam corny. This nigga is corny. You know what I'm saying? You coming at a rapper like, yes, we can talk. We can say whatever we want. We can react, whatever. People got smoke for podcasters that say stuff, whatever, but like it's no harm, no foul. We saying stuff about you, you can say stuff about us, but like you try to enter his world and you try to make diss tracks about this dude, whatever. And Cam told you like, yo, bro, I don't want no smoke. Like, and he even gave you props. He even said like, nah, they wasn't that bad. Like, they wasn't that bad of diss tracks for like, all right. But like, bro, I'm not rapping against you. You know what I'm saying? And then he, he said something, and then you gonna fire back. So he like, all right, book. I'm booking my ops. You know what I mean? And this is 50 Cent level trolling, but this is like some Harlem get money stuff where it's like, bro, this little bit of bread is nothing, man. Like for me to get revenge on you, this is nothing. And the thing is though, for people saying it's corny, then call 50 Cent corny. You know what I mean? Because 50 Cent bought out the first couple rows of a Ja Rule concert just so he would have so the front would be empty. So how much money do you think 50 Cent spent on trolling Ja Rule, and y'all had no problem with it? But then because y'all have some type of tie or nostalgic like reverence for Omar Gooding, y'all looking at him as the victim when he ain't no victim. He's not a victim. Like he is a victim now. He's a victim of Cam's trolling, but like he ain't without fault. You know what I mean? Like he started this. You know what I mean? He started it, Cam finished it. And yeah, so Omar Gooding's gonna try coming back out with another diss track, but I don't think it's gonna go nowhere. Cam might keep it going. Who knows? But yeah, Omar, like I liked you in Wild and Crazy Kids. I liked you in Smart Guy. I liked you in Baby Boy. But like, brother, man, like take the L. Take the L. Like you trying to spin it to make it seem like it's better for you, but like just take the L, bro. It's easier that way. So what do you think? What do you guys think? All right. Leave a comment below. Leave a comment below. Is this next level trolling by Cam? Is this funny? I think it's funny. Some people don't think it's funny, but I think a lot of people agree that this shit is wild and this shit is crazy and next level for sure, for sure. But leave a comment below. All right. Let's move on to our last topic. Overall, man, this is gonna be for the parents of the show, who people who watch the show who are parents. We're gonna get into some stuff, right? So first thing is this: we're gonna talk about maybe some tips on like how to raise your kid, whatever. And this is not like content, or this is not necessarily a content creator that I follow or anything like that. But like it caught my attention, and then and then I related it back to another video as well, because just in general, what does it take to like raise your kid, whatever. So because yeah, raising your kid in this day and age is totally different than what it was like raising your kid back in the day. So let's take a look here on this first video. It's talking about don't raise a weirdo. Don't raise a weirdo. He gonna explain a little bit.
Don't raise a weirdo. That's a successful life. Don't raise a.
So yeah, so I think that clip probably because I seen somebody comment say you're a brave man. So yeah, I can see why that would get some backlash because today's day and age we talk about how like raising your kids and you should let them express themselves, which I do agree with that. I think you should let your kids express themselves, but you also are raising your kid to be um I don't want to say like they don't have to join the crowd, so to speak. They don't have to be like everybody else, but you're trying to mitigate like them being an outcast and them facing ridicule when they don't have to face ridicule. Like when people are doing when he's saying weirdo, he's talking about the people that just are doing things out of just social norms that just don't make sense, like that are abnormal things. Like he just said, like depending on how you dress, depending on maybe the way you talk. Like yes, if you had a kid and like let's even go a little bit older, right? So like I have an 11-year-old son. So if my son like made jokes at the house, whatever, and talked, or my son at home had a weird habit of like, yeah, talking in baby voice. If he talked in baby voice, right? And I like some of his, I like that example, whatever, because could that be part of my son's personality? Sure. Is he trying to be funny? Maybe, but if you just let them rock out and do that type of stuff at home, if you don't check it, they're gonna think it's okay, and they're gonna take it out into the real world, and then they're not gonna understand why they're being ridiculed, why they don't have friends, why they're an outcast. You know what I mean? And then because they're gonna just say, and because it's parents that justify that type of behavior, the kid's gonna come home, they might get bullied. And like, mom, I don't understand, man. I was just making a joke, whatever. And then the parents just justifies it and just pats them on the back and is like, oh, they just don't understand you, baby. No, stop being weird. Like, come on, man. Like, don't do too much. Don't do too much. And I ain't gonna lie, man. My son is pretty cool, man. Like, just in general, and he knows when people are doing too much. Like, I had a conversation with my son recently, and he was just talking about how like yeah, kids in his class and stuff like that, and then how they be acting hyper and stuff like that, and like his perception of what hyper is, and yeah, because he's a cool kid, like just inherently cool, like he keeps it cool, he keeps it chill, he don't do too much, he's not doing things for attention, he's not doing things to capture people's eye and just to be peculiar. I mean, yeah, he has his own personality. He has things that he likes, but all the like the peculiar things. If he would make weird faces all day and whatever, but then like he's all up in everybody's faces doing those things. Yeah, it's probably just not gonna be accepted. But it's like not trying to teach your kid to just be like everybody else, but there is a certain way that you should just conduct yourself in society, and you got to know when to turn off some of those things that make you like a little peculiar or make you a little bit unique. Sometimes you do gotta tone it. You gotta tone it down a little bit. You gotta read the room. You gotta read the room, and that's the thing. When you raise your kids in a way that where they can be super expressive, you're not teaching them how to read the room. Like, yeah, do that around people that accept it. But if your parents ain't accepting it, then it's like likely like most people ain't gonna accept it, especially when it's just things that you don't need to be doing. So I commend him for being brave for saying that. And again, I know it might even people, me reacting to it and me saying what I gotta say, people might have feel some type of way, but I feel exactly what he's saying, 100%, man. Last topic. And this also has to do with raising your kids. So this is what it's like to be raised by parents that got out the mud. And I got my own reaction to this, but I want to hear what you guys got to say about it. So let's take a look here. Let's go back. Here we go. Get it out the mud, parents.
We don't talk enough about the black suburban kids who are raised by get it out the mud parents. The parents who they'll raise you in suburbia, and just because they gave you a quote unquote better life, that they think they did enough. Like they raise us around white kids, and then we watch our white counterparts get help from their families. We watch them help their families help them get through college. Their families help them do different things, and then when we expect the same help, they're like, "Well, why do you want me to help you?" And I feel like I got that a lot as I got older, and when I had to move into my first apartment on my own. I moved into my first apartment. Everybody heard where I was from, and they were like, well, why would you move from where you're from to here, which is quote unquote the hood or whatever? It's because that's what I can afford. My parents wasn't putting down payments on apartments for me. They weren't doing that. So that puts me in a lower demographic. A black suburban kid with get it out the mud parents, you have to start at the bottom. We don't talk enough about
That's real. That's real. And the reason why this resonated with me is because I realized that I'm a product of like kind of get it out the mud parents, but also too like I am a get it out the mud type of I am a get it out the mud parent, and like it makes me realize like how I should kind of conduct myself when my son gets older, right? Because all right, so here I lived for a little bit of time when I was a young boy. I lived in like a two-parent household. And when I was in a two-parent household, people like kind of, and I was the only child for a while. And so people looked at me because I have siblings. I end up finding out that I had an older sibling, and then I have most of my all my other siblings are younger than me. You know what I mean? So they came after the fact. You know what I mean? A decade after, you know what I mean? I have a little brother that's, you know, what, 25 years, 26 years younger than me. You know what I mean, as well. So yeah, it does run the gamut. It's a wide range. I mean, it's a wide range, right? So when I was being raised as the only child, I was viewed by a lot of people as spoiled, right? You know what I mean? Like people, and I probably was, you know what I mean? Um, and you know, my parents, they were kind of like materialistic. Like my parents valued that type of stuff. They had the research for it. And I was viewed as if I was like wealthy, you know what I mean? And maybe back in the 90s, maybe my parents was like doing better than other people's, or maybe it's just the fact that yeah, they had two decent incomes and they put them together, and then you know we lived the life that we lived. So I didn't start experiencing any type of like, so that wasn't my life the whole way through my life, right? So when my parents split up, that's the first time that like my parents were really conducting themselves as like single parents, right? Single income homes. And yes, in the future, I started to have like siblings and things like that, step parents, you know, into my life, whatever. But like my step parents were never like providers in my life, so to speak. So yeah, like I was pretty much in single parent households, whether I was living with my dad or living with my mom. I was in single parent households, single income households. And so like I knew at that point I couldn't really like my parents got to where they were, whatever. And then I knew that it was my job to kind of like because my parents made it out of nothing, so I had to get it out the mud too. So like when it came to college and things like that, I didn't even ask or expect my parents to do much for me because I figured it out. Like I had to get student loans and stuff like that. And they didn't really they weren't able to navigate that part of my life for me, and nor did I even think to ask whatever. So and because I didn't have her experience, I didn't even know we were doing well. We still lived in the city. Then when my parents split up, I still lived in the city, but like you know, I experienced like small bouts of poverty, you know what I mean, or small bouts of struggle, like I did financial struggle. So like I knew that I couldn't even ask my parents for these things. And for the most part, I was on the same level as my peers when it comes to finances. Like I was not by the time I graduate high school, I was no better off than my peers. You know what I mean? Because again, I was living in these like single income households. You know what I mean? Maybe even if it was like separated and I lived in one or lived in the other, it was still single income. You know what I mean? And so like I didn't have everything. I had to work, all that, whatever. So like I didn't expect that. So I had to get out the mud. So I got my degrees, you know what I mean? Got out the mud, whatever. I'm doing pretty well for myself, right? Now, now I'm a father, right? And then it makes me realize so and my son he don't go to it. He doesn't go to an urban school. He does go to a suburb. We do live in a suburban neighborhood, and he does go to a suburban school. And so he's that kid, and both me and his mom, like we got it. We both got it out the mud, or whatever. And so as much as as much as like you do feel like you want your kid to work hard, so you don't want them to lose that work ethic. But I do think that sometimes when we get out the mud as parents, we think that like our kids have to get everything out the mud the same way that we do, when that's not the case. Because what happens is we our kid didn't start at the bottom. Like our kid has not started at the bottom at this point, right? Because we were able to raise him and put him in a better neighborhood, better environment, right? So my son, he don't have to start at the bottom. But like when he gets older, why would I put him back down the totem pole? You know what I'm saying? Like he can still learn work ethic, but still be up here. Like he could still be in a somewhat of a privileged place. You know what I mean? And I could still teach him that work ethic and the value of money. I could still teach him those things, but at the same time, he is like he's starting at like first base. He's starting at second base or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that. So like I think listening to that, it makes me realize like, yo, like yes, I do want my son to get out the mud, but like yeah, I need to be cognizant of like, yo, my parenting don't stop just because he turned 18. You know, I'm still his parent when he's in college, and like I want to make sure, or post secondary school, whatever. But I want to make sure that like when he does have to make certain life moves, that like I'm there for him. I'm not giving him necessarily everything, but I'm not necessarily making him. I'm not gonna make him struggle for no reason. And I think there's ways to teach them valuable lessons about money and about hard work without like you don't have to teach them like what it's like to be empowered. Like he don't need to live in the kind of world I live in. And like I seen another video that talked about this, and it was like kind of eye opening as well. As what like we talk about like when like if your kid is picky, like if he's a picky eater, and then you go on and say like, oh well, I had to eat whatever was in the house and this and that, whatever. Well, yeah, it's because that's all my parents could provide, and I did have to eat whatever's in the house. But like maybe I'm in a better position, and it's like I'm trying to raise my kid. Like you cannot raise your kid the way that you were raised, especially if you currently are not in a situation that you were that's similar to your childhood. Like I put my son in a better neighborhood, put in a better situation. So if he's a picky eater, and I'm complaining about him not eating what's in the house, it's well because I created that environment for him. You know what I mean? Like I created this privilege that where he don't always gotta just eat what's in the house, and like we can do whatever, or I can, so like sometimes you don't even realize like your own decisions. Like you create, like you can call your kids spoiled all you want, but like you spoiled them. You know what I mean? You created that level of privilege for them, but then you cannot hold their privilege that you gave them. You cannot hold that privilege over your kids' heads. So like what she's saying, like, and because I'm trying to think of a comparison because of what people would say. Like, just imagine she grew up in Beverly Hills, right? Her parents did not grow up in Beverly Hills, but she grew up in. They made enough money so she could grow up in Beverly Hills, and then now that she's on her own, they're like, now she got to live in Compton. You know what I mean? Or she got to live in Watts or something like that. She got to live in South Central, and now she got to make it out the mud. And people that know her are like, bro, you went to school. You came from Beverly Hills. Like, what? Like, why are your parents making you live in the hood? And then all they can say is like, well, I mean, my parents want me to work hard for it. And it's like, no, that don't mean that, man. Like you want to kind of give them a leg up so then they can go beyond you. You know what I'm saying? And I would say that my parents did that for the most part. And again, I didn't live in a privileged area, but like they did enough for me to kind of elevate myself. And so like now I'm starting my son at a certain level, and then hopefully I can be that scaffold for him to elevate him, so then when he's raising his kid is at a better level. Because you always want to do more, and you just want to be in a better place in your life than the previous generation. I mean, but you have to set that up for them. All right. So I don't know. It's just something to think about, man. What do you think about that? What do you think about this week's episode, man? I thought we had a lot of dope content. We covered a lot of things. We talked about the Cam'Ron beef. Talked about this parenting stuff. We talked about Fantastic Four, a good Fantastic Four review. Talked about Ari Lennox and her revisionist history of Martin, and then my recap of the Breezy Bowl. Right. So if you're still watching, I need you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment below, share the content, hit that bell for notifications. I love being with y'all every week, man. This is episode 204 of the 280 Plus podcast. I'm your host, Los Def. Catch me on YouTube, catch me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You see the handle below. That handle applies for all platforms. And yeah, you can listen to us on Spotify. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts. And every week we drop episodes on YouTube, man, the videos. So tune in. And I love y'all, man. And I'm out, y'all. Peace.